once again, this is Sethikus Boza, Black Earth Productions, Blue Flame Healing Arts and Occult Science. And right now, I'm speaking with an individual that has tapped the realms more than a lot of people I've been able to speak to before. We've been a network, and he's decided to come on and share with me a lot of the things that have been revealed to him lately. I would like to welcome my guest at Silver Cord Spiritual Science, Sean Bond, to Black Earth Productions. What's on your mind? What do you want to dive into?
What has been going on with you over the past few weeks and the interesting changes?
I feel things on a level of implosion that's happening more on an unconscious level. I've recently made ritual and decided I was going to go deeper into the darkness lately, man. The reason why I think a lot of people deal with the shit that they do is because they're not willing to acknowledge what I'm getting at. And so it builds up on an unconscious level, layered over. But it's getting to the point now where the frequency of consciousness, the changes that have been happening, the rapid fire that's been taking place, this is going to no longer be able to be avoided. And this is why I think a lot of people are dealing with issues they may have not known were there. Like I said myself, I'm choosing to go into this even deeper, man. And lately I've been really focused on the Nordic mythos, getting into my blood codes specifically, and making connection to the ancestors, healing the ancestors in context to the gods and goddesses. And my view on the gods and goddesses is nothing to do with religion or how religion has portrayed them. False belief systems that surround the mythos, especially the false belief systems that people have about themselves. There's a lot of shifts that are taking place with specific networks that are really beginning to see it, Sean. They're really starting to see a lot of the things that I've addressed. You and I, we've gotten into it before, man, and it's been very interesting, the things that you shared with me in context to some of the things I'm getting at. How about you, man? What's been going on with you?
Oh, a lot resonating with what you also been working on. I've been going into Nordic magic and the varying different evidences that pop up in my reality that push me in directions that are more than just me following a story, for like certain beings that are able to influence into this reality at a greater level and actually get your attention, and then bring a greater relationship and union, communion, resolution, and things for the benefit of the planet with those beings. Also been going deep into the shadow and learning how to be prepared and ready to resolve greater shadow resolution in myself and bringing that to light so that I grow at a deeper level. Finding more and more power within myself, reflective. And I've been questioning more about this aspect of our reality and the different lineages that I find in reading people's DNA stem from really powerful beings that are ancient, as well as discovering some of the relic species of ancestors throughout the different realm bleedovers of our history, in some way exist in this realm here, despite any quarantines between the realms and the separation of their main branching lineages on this planet. Because I can really blanket term that, honestly.
Yeah, but all worlds of consciousness converge here in Midgard. And a lot of the pathways forged out are not going to take us to where we actually need to be here. And going back to all the false belief systems that are really beginning to crumble. This is the energy I think we both feel in the reality field. It's this implosion. Because the way that people have been navigating spirituality, the way they've been navigating healing, the way that they've been looking at the situation isn't going to work for what's coming. And I've talked about this before. And it's led us up to a certain point. But for me, getting into my personal path work, I'm already connected to fucking eternity. Where people get caught is when they forget that they are everything, in a sense. And to put limitations on the potential that's there for us now is something that's a part of the programming, getting us to view ourselves as far, far less than what we actually are. And I think with the level of knowledge and information that's accessible, think about it, man. We have the fucking archives at our fingertips in context to the ether.
Sure.
Okay, but take it even deeper, going into the blood, going into the melatonin. The records that are there, within the DNA, the real magic that's accessible now. Everybody's going to have to go through the process. It's not just going to be handed to you. You're not going to be given the secrets of the universe until you've been through very, very rigorous initiations. And see, this is what a lot of people are going through and don't realize it because of the hour that we are in. You're talking about union and communion resolution with other beings in the known universe. Everything that I've touched upon on Black Earth Productions, this isn't just for humanity. In context of the biospiritual regenesis, DNA resolution, these are some of the things that you wanted to get into with me, man. So it's for them as well. And this is why I think I've had the experience that I did when Odin came to me and said that we're ready. Now, why is Odin coming to me? Because here in Midgard, like I said, all worlds of consciousness are converging. And from here, we can pierce worlds, man. In other worlds, we can't do what we can do here in Midgard. And that's the unique thing about being here in this reality field. It's unlike any other place. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the highest realm that we could possibly fucking be in. See, everybody wants to escape, Sean. They want to escape their pain. They want to escape the trial. They want to escape all the fucking bullshit that's going on in the fucking world. And the reason why they want to escape is because they have this victim mentality, which is a false belief system, getting individuals to look at themselves as far less than what they really are. And they don't even recognize or remember what they're actually connected to in context to eternity. So what do you think about that, man?
Oh, that's very true. I like that you gave me so many things to talk about and brought me into a greater unfoldment of things that I've previously thought about. I like that Odin's contacting you. I know why that is. He also has contacted me quite a few times through crows that come out of their way in habit pattern to come give me a message. And then I tune into it, and it'll usually be like something to do with a greater awareness of what this being understands me as, and people that I'm interacting with, and people of the land, and people that are interested in him. In awareness in the physical being, as well as the multidimensional being, higher self, which is mostly going to be the interactor, because they are powerful enough just to influence the crow themselves, and has like a DNA lineage connection to certain types of crow families as a communication hub back and forth. Missions, all kinds of different stuff in resolution, remedy, resolve, mutual beneficial co-creation, the reemergence of the understandings of who these people are, and oracleship to different beings in a communication line. And you being synced up to engage more in that in many different ways, and then continue in that path of engagement based on you two coming together for a purpose. Different beings that have a ability to interact with each individual's fight all the things and forces against mystical experiences that will up the consciousness of each individual and change their timeline. It can be read into even greater than that. Each invitation, each residual image visualization that comes to you, each verbal equation, there's more to it beside what is easily accessible in the information, because you're also engaging in commerce with the higher self of those beings and them with you, and you're trading what you're good at and like finding ways to make commerce. It says it all there. It like increases in experience and wisdom and technology and all this other stuff. Again, engaging with understanding filters and every being is dealing with their own stuff, and sometimes they need a remedy process from humans that have the DNA of all these different species all in one, that makes certain things easier for them to do in remedy, which is why a lot of these purist lineages of different types of different species that would be doing missions with someone in telepathic communication would reach out to them, especially if they have their DNA lineage or have a spirit connection with them in some way.
Right.
Soul family or all that.
Mm-hmm. And that's getting into blood codes specifically. Soul codes, that's a little bit more advanced. And see, people want to get into all of that before actually knowing how to navigate here in Midgard. See, again, it goes back to this escapism. Like, it's going to be better over there. But like you just said, those beings are dealing with shit too. And so to see any of them as greater or more knowledgeable or whatever the fuck is part of the Dark One's agenda.
Yeah.
To second guess our position here in Midgard. And it's a risk coming in here, man, because like I said, all worlds of consciousness are converging. It's everything. And that's why the world is the way that it fucking is. And it's not to say that evil's just going to go the fuck away. It's not. It's here and it's fucking running its course. The secret with it, though, is that individuals are making the choice to align themselves with denial. Denial of the illusion that we are unfortunately having to fucking deal with in context to the control grids. This gets into the Phoenix Spike Matrix. This gets into the Phantom Matrix and all the lower astral grid works of consciousness, man, that are hooking in on an energetic level with the mental and emotional body specifically. You have your physical body, right? Then you have the mental and the emotional body. And I've been teaching for quite some time now and have spoken to many, many people. I know for a fucking fact people don't know who they are. They don't know what their roots are. They're not the masters of their thoughts and emotions, and they're not connected to eternity. They're not connected to the ever-present now, which, if we get into these sciences, will set an individual in trajectory to be able to discover who the fuck they are and what they're connected to in context to the ancestors, blood codes, and the soul code genetics, in context to stargates of consciousness and other systems. But until humanity recognizes the fact that the heavens above are within us, we're not going to fucking evolve. We're going to continue to look at everything from a two-dimensional linear perception. This is the problem with religion. This is the problem with anything that a lot of people are fucking doing. Anytime anybody has an experience, as far as I'm concerned, whatever you're having an experience with, something there within you is the cause point in reflection with that. And so to deny it and to say that it doesn't fucking exist is completely insane. In fact, it's not even fucking logical because so many people are having these experiences more and more and more. Now, is this knowledge for everybody? No, I don't think it is. But it is for those that are having these things happen and they don't know what the fuck is going on. That's why you do what you do. That's why I do what I do. We've been through this process. We know the game, and your gift is very unique. And I can't recall everything. It was so much. But you were getting into things in context to my blood codes, confirming a lot of fucking things, man, without me talking to you about it. You had this insight. And that's the unique thing about those of us here in Midgard that are seers. We're able to pierce the veils and we're able to see what's going on a multidimensional level. And again, going back to the mental and emotional body, this is where we are experiencing it. You have these layers within the core and the perimeter of each chakra and use them against us. And there's an axiom that they hail to: cut a man off from his roots and you have a slave. And so for us to end slavery for real, we have to free ourselves within ourselves first. It's not going to happen out there. There's not going to be some kind of an event or some kind of race of being or Jesus motherfucking Christ coming through the goddamn clouds to fucking save us. It's our responsibility here. In fact, it's why we came here. We actually chose to be here. We actually, first of all, knew that we would succeed. We wouldn't have fucking taken the risk unless we knew. But there's that whole process of incarnation where you go through that memory wipe and then you get layered the fuck over, man. And that's all the traumas, that's all the ancient shit, that's all what we term cognitive schemata that we picked up from our parents' bloodlines in context of the blood codes and the ancestors. But what is DNA? Energy, vibration, frequency, and consciousness taken physical form. And everything has their signature frequency of consciousness. And see, this is what they don't want us to be connected to. When you're connected to the true core signature frequency, you're connected to eternity. And then from there, you're able to navigate this fucking shit. But a lot of people, man, like I said, and like what you're picking up on, this implosion, they don't have the mat to be able to navigate this shit and heal and make the resolution on all realms of consciousness. People are lucky if they get a few scraps here and there. This is how it was for eons. And I think that we're at a point now, Sean, where we have more available to us than we ever have in any time in history. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to fuck it up like the ancestors did, or are we going to catch up the soul cycles, learn to remember, and then recalibrate, encouraging and empowering one another, instead of allowing ourselves and one another to get sucked into that goddamn fucking abyss, man? You have to do the real work. A lot of people get caught, man, especially in context to the lower astral grid work specifically. These entities and these beings coming in the guise of the archetypes of consciousness. See, this is what the gods and goddesses truly are. They're archetypes of consciousness. The gods and goddesses wouldn't even exist if that power, that raw essence of creator source, that just is. It doesn't need our energy. It doesn't need our fucking worship. But there are certain laws in place where if you don't know how to work with them, the effect that most people experience ultimately is fucking death. But it all goes back to the DNA. What is the DNA resolution? What do you think about any of the things that I just mentioned, Sean?
Well, going into DNA, the wisdom councils, holographic technology of light that fractals up and down and slows down to a speed ratio for allowed physical matter, and learning to retake one's individual hologram for their own eminence, their own lights, their own existence in spirits, and deal with the inheritance of incarnating into the DNA technology that we have in strategy, taking up the mantle place of responsibility that goes along with the technology that we're given in this reality with the ancestors of every being that's held the generational lines of creation, and bringing together skill sets, wisdom, and knowingness to pass along to many different species in one genetic line, and seeing what are the reality rules of others. If you want to free yourself, go into your own, realize illusions from others that are projected onto you, and start removing them in all back doors into your timeline.
Yeah, that's really good what you just said, the backdoor inroads. Yep.
Yeah, in a timeline for ways that things would automatically get you to agree to a hologram or steal your energy, or as authority to bring stuff into your hologram that otherwise wouldn't be agreed to other than in the shared amalgamated hologram quilt of shared reality rules, and seeing how to engage in a cleaning house of others that you don't need to agree to, that are games that are making you less than you really are, if you understand that there's a greater reason why we're in here, so that we can reclaim what was ours with extra stuff that we felt was necessary for that, the DNA technology, and what its path will exist into the future based on all the different timelines crashing together for trying to influence the future generations. So if you were to go into your mind and understand that the hologram is energy based on an eminence of splitting itself infinitely, fractaling up and down, shrinking and expanding with perceivers of consciousness and source, it layers itself into this, which is many holograms on top of each other from many different choice points and create sharing.
Yeah, it's everything here.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no grid work of consciousness that is not running present here in our reality field. It's all here. And there's many that people don't even know are running because they're caught. Okay, what's beyond all the bullshit? See, this is what I'm connecting to. This is what I am working to get into with people. If you can't see past the bullshit, that's what you're going to continue to give your fucking energy to. A few students, I've had to let them the fuck go because they're not listening. They just want to go on and on and on about their fucking problems and all their issues. Well, what the fuck are you going to do about it? I can show you the tools. I can show you how to navigate given over to your personal disposition. These people are the ones that are going to have to fucking do it. See, both you and I are healers. And you do a lot of healing work, and it's very fucking powerful. But ultimately, as a healer, speaking as a healer, people are going to have to do it themselves. And I think that this potentially could even be detrimental for those of us that do give a shit about what's going on. I don't know how many people you've been working with, who you've been talking to, or what you've been doing, man, because we haven't spoken in a while. I recognize how a lot of narcissistic, vampire type of fucking individuals target those that have healing abilities. This is something that I think needs to be addressed because we're not just dealing with ourselves here. We're picking up on everything that's happening, not just on a physical level, but on a multidimensional level. Do you know that if the average individual were to, for 5 to 10 minutes, be in our fucking skin, that they would go fucking insane? Do you know how long it's taken to be able to get to the point of being able to navigate this shit without getting sucked into the fucking abyss, man? Which is why I chose to make ritual out of going into the darkness. Because otherwise, people are going to be right through the coals, especially when those ancient codes are activated by the higher force. And a lot of people are going to be given more opportunity if they tune into the segments that I'm presenting. They're going to get a little bit more viable, proper knowledge and context to be able to know how to navigate this fucking shit. But a lot of people out there, from what I've seen, they feel like there's nobody around them that understands. There's nobody out there that fucking gets it. And that is the case, I think, for a lot of us. That's how it was for me. And so it's great being able to network with individuals like yourself and everybody else that fucking get it. I think a lot of us, even at the forefront, we can get really discouraged, especially when we start in on focusing on all the bullshit again, instead of being focused on what we're here to do in context to the resolution. And it's a hardcore fucking responsibility. I'm being held accountable. I couldn't escape this even if I wanted to. I chose this shit. I chose to come here to be a part of what is unfolding. It's about truth. And those that want truth, they're going to be able to access it. They're going to be able to know us. But I can't decide for anybody, man. I can't decide for anybody else out there except myself. And a lot of the energies that we're experiencing right now, there's a lot of retrogrades going on, Saturn retrograde specifically. It is forcing us to face our shit. Saturn's true position is to fucking forge us. He's going to kick your fucking ass and say, get up and keep fighting, or fucking just die. No mercy. We're going to go Cobra Kai on this fucking shit. And that, for me, in context, having the attitude of a warrior is necessary, man, especially going into these realms. You know, people have this fantasy of astral projection like it's going to be some kind of wonderful fucking experience. Anytime I've projected myself into the astral specifically, it's fucking war. It's war all across the board. And you literally see the conflict within every single human, also every other being in the known universe, converging there in that grid work of consciousness. This is why making connection to what is beyond everything first is so essential, because a lot of people, they just want to jump into the shit. They want to get into magic. They want to get into the occult. They want to start invoking entities and spirits and having these fucking experiences, right? But they don't know the agenda of most of these things, because a lot of them are working to ride in on the consciousness and genetics of these individuals that are doing this fucking shit. Okay. Yep. And they're completely fucked as far as I'm concerned. Individuals that are going along with the old systems that aren't going to work for what's coming. It's just not going to work anymore. This is why I think a lot of people are having problems too, because maybe it was working before, but it's not working as well as it was, right? And that's the whole thing about enlightenment as far as I'm concerned. There's no arrival point. So we're continually in the position to evolve, man. You've pierced the veils, man. You've seen beyond. It drives you to do what you do because you know that there's fucking hope. You know that there's resolution. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing? We're wasting our time, and it's all in fucking vain. And that energy comes from the Dark Ones. That's where the Dark Ones want. Just give up and quit.
Yeah.
Don't even fight. And you were talking about the Matrix. There's that scene at the end of the third one when Agent Smith, he's like, why do you persist, right? He's getting fucking pissed off. This is the attitude of a lot of the Dark Gods that want to ride in, and at the end of the movie, he multiplied himself in humanity. And that's what the fuck is happening. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
And I love that part. Why do you persist? And then Neo looks up at him. He says, because I choose to. It's a choice that you make to keep going no matter fucking what. Because you're being directed by the higher force. You already made that connection. You already know what's beyond all the fucking bullshit and the things that we're healing through. And I can see why people don't make it through, especially when they want to get into this sort of practice, because they haven't even been through the fucking initiation. And again, this is just coming from me. Other people are going to see it differently. But I'm taking everything I'm saying in context to the universal laws of metaphysics. This shit can't be refuted. Cosmic law, how things actually work, the mechanics of our systems on a multidimensional level. There's a way to know how it works. And if we learn how to work this shit, then there's no world of consciousness that we can't navigate and heal through to work to bridge the realms, bridge the worlds, and let other beings in the universe know that this is the purpose of coming to Earth. You don't get to come here and fuck around. Now, in this sector in the solar system, Magick was the home of the humans that came here from Lyra. But Magick was completely fucking destroyed, man. And then that's when consciousness was shattered in context to thought and emotion. Magick is now the asteroid belt. The moon is a piece of Magick, and also the rings of Saturn, man. People want to talk about the Saturn moon matrix and the lockdown and the fucking black cube cults and these systems of domination and control. It comes from a place of shattered consciousness. It comes from a place of being disassociated from your true core essence in context to DNA resolution.
Yeah, each aspect of the solar system and beyond macrocosmically can overlay an interaction to our oracle skill sets of awareness based on things happening to us in the physical finite. If the planets weren't like how they are, we aren't manifest the same. Same thing before when there were other planets that were destroyed and the ones beyond our perception, binary star systems and all that. Those can be read into internally to see their interaction and what the wound has caused, and if you wanted to engage in healing that psychic wound, depending on how much of an effect it has on you now, especially with other catastrophes, because we've gone through so many different catastrophes and they're all held in our DNA, and each of them reverberates as a wound that takes multiple generations to heal or a large amount of focus. You should be seeing it as like a multidimensional paradox that you should not be entangled with at all. Make it so that it's not in your hologram at all. Not just in ignorance or ignoring that it's there, but actually where your DNA says it's not agreeing to that hologram anymore, and you're branching off and breaking off from that, which is a strategy.
In truth, that has nothing to do with you at all. Is that what you're getting at, man?
Yeah, interacting with the trapped hologram of the domination and control system global narrative, which really wants you to engage with it all the time.
Yep.
And it's all about finding every way possible to close all back doors that it has in connection to your hologram, so it's not a part of you in any way, and you are strength training yourself to get better and better at disentangling it and keeping it from re-entangling with you, so that as little power to you as possible, and you start shining as a beacon of an emanation of an example of somebody that's disentangled themselves from the hologram at a greater level than others, to an eventual goal and completion of powerfully maintaining endurance.
Yeah, people are going to need endurance. This path work is dangerous, and it's not for the faint of heart. And you can't just kind of dip your toe into the fucking lake here. It's all or nothing. And in order for it to work right, people are going to have to take the deep plunge. And that could be absolutely fucking terrifying. And I completely understand. Now, certain people have a disposition for this, other people don't. I personally have a disposition for everything because of just how I am as an individual, getting into the system mechanics and gnosis, so on and so forth. I choose to make ritual out of going into the darkness. I choose to make ritual out of going into that place of pain. And this is why people fall into all of nets, traps, and snares. Because they're trying to escape. They're trying to escape their pain. Pain is what the shadow hides behind. It hides behind that false drive that is keeping people in fucking prison. And the real fucked up thing about this, man, is that people love their fucking slavery. They consent to it. They consent to it because they're fucking cowards and they're fucking evil. There's this idea, everybody out there on the inside, deep down, they're good people. No, the fuck they're not. A good person is someone that fucking proves it. The process of facing their fucking shit instead of being in denial. People that go around trying to control others are not even close to being the masters of anything. They're not even the masters of themselves. A true master might even look at you. You could be in the fucking depths of fucking burning pits and you're crying out for fucking help, but the true master's going to look at you and he ain't going to do shit. He'll speak over to you and say, you can do it. We can all do what the masters did. We can all do what the ancients did. The ancients knew this, man. Again, this was the original purpose of coming here, to face our fucking shit, not to project it out into the reality field and create a goddamn fucking prison for ourselves. In denial. That was not why we came here. We didn't come to be a part of that. So what the fuck is any of that to do with us? It's nothing to do with us. We're not even on the same signature frequency of consciousness. And once you reach a certain fucking point where you're in alignment with your destiny, that's when you start to pull to you everything that belongs to you. It doesn't stop coming into the expansion of consciousness. But okay, what's the actual practical application here in Midgard? Because a lot of people, like I said, they have this attitude of spiritual escapism instead of spiritual self-mastery. Nothing else is working, man. And if people aren't the masters of their material existence, how the fuck are you going to have time to even really do this work for real? You got to do what you got to do. And I've been there. But when you come into alignment with your destiny, when you come into alignment with what is meant, that's when the real magic starts to fucking unfold. Even though you're surrounded by the winds of the fucking storm, you're in the eye of the fucking goddamn hurricane. And that's what the circle of the magician is. Learning how to tap into the real magic of creation itself. It needs to be reinstated, because if things continue on like they are, people are going to be fucking devoured. And it says, even in the Gnostic material, which I don't advocate, watered down fucking claptrap bullshit that just puts a person into a hardcore fucking victim mentality, much like Christianity, akin to the savior programming. It's distracting us. We're getting pulled out of the fulcrum. We're getting pulled out of being in connection with our core. We're getting pulled out and into those infinite feedback loops and time cycles, man, and then locked the fuck down. Why? Why do you persist? Right? Because I choose to. And that's the attitude. We have to persevere no matter what the fuck is going on. No matter what we got going on in our DNA. We can resolve it. We can heal it. We can do it. But it's not a thought or an emotion. It's a fucking attitude. It's a choice. You do the work no matter what, no matter how hard or painful it is, because nothing else is going to be resolved otherwise. It's just not. It's going to continue to project itself like it has been. And this is the energy that we're picking up on every day in the reality field.
Oh yeah, I've been feeling a whole bunch. If you've seen the movie Revolver, it goes great into bringing the shadow to egoic resolution and bring out the wisdom, healing in process, getting rid of all that's not you, growing so that everyone grows with you faster, being in commerce that will give everyone a greater availability to wake up, and even though it's always going to be their choice and we should never force it upon them. That also gets us down a different road against the point, but if we get it to them in a way that, hey, look what I'm able to manifest my reality, why wouldn't you want to take the suffering out of your life by facing the suffering, realizing it's a teacher, so that it doesn't need to exist any longer in it. And the whole point of suffering is to grow and to see that there's a problem that's wanting you to move past it. And it's something that many other people are likely going to be dealing with. So if you resolve it, you're able to understand that you have value in this world by reaching into your shadow. There should be old schools based on just resolving the shadow, because of how many unique things are within an individual asking to be resolved. And that can bring a large amount of wisdom to the population very quickly, because so many people have similar things they're working on. A lot of the dark side strategy is just dumping their shit on you, their own karma, their traumas, torture, their way of thinking, ways and mind views.
Right. Real quick, man, I want to mention something in context to karma. Why the karma doesn't pass on to the dark ones? Because humanity are the ones consenting to their agendas. They can't even see it, blinded by their own fucking denial of what is going on in reality. This is the mark of a stupid person. If you cannot see it, especially by now, listening to this segment with me and Sean, then you are completely fucking retarded. And you need to be scrutinized. You need to be backed into a fucking corner and told what the fuck is up. Because these evil motherfuckers are laughing their sick fucking asses off at you. I'm not trying to mock you. I'm not trying to belittle you. I'm trying to get you to see what the fuck is really going on here.
Oh yeah, they'll fucking find all kinds of different ways to direct it onto other people. It's pretty sickening. They'll have whole prisons of captured soul shards from beings that they tortured to get to approve different things. Most of the system of domination control is made up of beings that are tortured into that state of being to continue what they're doing, because they can't get out of it, because they're in a state of darkness and they don't understand how to get out of that and to embrace the law of the universe and their individual source, so that they can understand a reality that's training source sparks within each individual to rise up and become their own source reality creators and disentangle from the soup and the miasma that surrounds us, that makes this reality so hard to function in a greater degree, because it's like an endurance battle.
Yeah, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is within the fulcrum, the eye of the fucking storm. And see, people are trying to do it otherwise, and they're not making connection to eternity, which is, of course, the grid works of consciousness that are obviously beyond the aura worlds. But they're within the circle. You can pull everything to you that is in alignment with your destiny. It will manifest. We are co-creators here with the higher force. I don't hear enough people out there talking about connection to the higher force. All I hear is people connecting to these lower astral fucking entities and spirits, okay? And this is going out to them too. The only way they're going to get beyond where they're at is if they do the exact same thing. But see, they don't want to fucking do that because they want to be in the positions of domination and control, manipulating the laws of the universe against us like they have. and that's all they got. So if we give them nothing, they don't have shit. Their house of cards literally fucking crumbles. And it takes a person having the courage to step away and forge their goddamn fucking destiny. And see, when you make connection to that, that could be the most terrifying fucking thing to an individual, because you got all of these loser motherfuckers that are slaves to the construct telling you that you can't do it or you're fucking insane. When all of that is an unconscious projection of their own fucking denial. And so, what are some of the other things that you wanted to get into with me, man?
Well, we can talk about a lot of things. We could talk for hours, but let me go over my notes a little. Going into the like manifestation for the individual, your direction, your goals, what you want to create, what you draw in on yourself that you think is the right decision, where you're not causing harm to your reality, you're not like making it worse and you're making it better, and at least getting to a position where you're able to support yourself so that you can draw deep into greater wisdom and expand upon it and manifest in the greater realities of your understanding. What I've been going into, tuning into my DNA and blueprints for abilities and spells. One I got from the Nordic lineages and Asgardian realm protectors. An equation of a spell that would apply for many of their types of spells. In one of these spells I got was for third eye amplification into vision, oracleship. It will also apply with many other types of spells. And let me know if you want to add on to this, because looking to make it better and better. Okay. 9 parts of the spell. Belief is one of them. Each type of manifestation goal and thing that you're trying to bring into the spell has a certain amount of belief in the placebo technology generator that we have in our body to bring something into manifestation with our belief, and it actually be part of the equation in doing that. You can monitor how much energy that you need for that and make a focused meditation of amplifying belief, intensity for something to a certain point where it's actually brings it to the necessary amounts for what you're wanting. Then the next part is energy, the reserves of whatever type of energy you produce, cultivate, or bring from the universe, etc. And you can ask what is necessary for the end result manifestation, especially if you're wanting it to be direct manifest timeline, because that's way harder than doing shit in the unseen. This reality is hard to manifest chess moves in, because every other being is chess moving to have things here. So you got to deal with that, which goes into the equation of how much energy you need. The third one is visualization. So visualizing going into the imagination, technology, and lights in the pineal gland and taking control over that, visualizing what you need for the ability. Also, there's a part of it there for Furthark ancient rune language. There seems to be certain runes that are best for certain intentions that you can transcribe into the equation and make that part of the visualization going along with what you're trying to see, manifesting the timelines becoming and then being that in visualization. Then the voice, vocalizing these sigils, these
that's golden.
Yeah.
When we evoke forth.
Yes, like I'd love to hear what you have to say to this. This is what I've been literally all of this. I just tuned into my DNA, and this is what the blueprint said. Vocalizing the symbols that are specific to the spell of the runes. The 5th one is will, which is understanding that we have an energy bandwidth that is like a fire in our being. That is our will, our drive, that also interacts with our fire body and action orientation. And then there's like the super will. And some beings I've actually read have like really powerful wills, and that they come in something they're good at, like really powerful vision. Cultivating the will's technology, which also is involving getting rid of all things that are limiting it, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that tries to shackle it down or steal willpower. so that you feel lethargic and not feel like getting up and doing shit. Directing will technology towards things you want to manifest in reality in like a feeling state, and then cultivating with a fire in your stomach. And then the next part, which was interesting for us to translate, which I was a little surprised by, it's something to do with reality encryption and decryption. And this goes on with what you're targeting in the hologram. So like encryption, making the spell harder to fuck with, and decrypting aspects of what it needs to interact with in the reality and making it more interactable. So hologram interaction. Going into this technology starts with meditating in a sense of being in a hologram that emanates all from one. It's a little hard, and there's a lot of things that will distract you from doing this. If you do it in nature, it's easier. You start realizing that all light eminence comes to you and has the sphere and projector from your pineal and your sensing organs, and like how you would interact with other focal points of consciousness in the hologram. Space and time in between those two consciousnesses is relative and can be changed very interestingly in a deeper understanding of the technology. And if you've experienced deep trips, you can feel yourself suddenly go to another place really quickly, and then all different layers, and start perceiving other dimensions overlaid on top of you. It's all this kind of... Anyway, the next part is current, which is current flow, the energy plumbing, the circuits of the body, generating energy from different points in the body, and then being able to cultivate it and flow it readily and be able to control it and control it well. This is one part of the equation that is important. It requires activating points on your body that would usually be suppressed in most people unless they've gone through like some interesting opening up of them through some kind of process that they've been through. The next one is emotions, which is a part of the equation in energy and motion, amplifying the entire equation and feeling it, and be able to make your own emotions. Anything that's blocking love is usually going back to your birth and getting you to agree, like, oh yeah, you agreed to limit your love technology or something for a certain time, and like it can be a lesson, sometimes bullcrap. You just need to get rid of that and up your cultivating of love technology and emotions and your ability to be like one in unity with the universe at a sufficient level, and everything seems to be amplified tremendously by that. And then you can add things onto this. This is just the basic.
Yeah. And that's where everything comes full circle in context within the fulcrum. Now I'm going to go through everything you just touched upon as you were getting into things. The very first thing you get into is belief, right? And one of the most powerful things I've ever heard one of my personal mentors say is that we must delete what we believe to be real in order for what is real to be revealed. And that's when you come into the knowing of belief in yourself. Everything in the universe is a mental projection. As above, so below. As within, as without. Now, if there's anything that we need to believe in, we need to believe in ourselves. We don't need to believe in the gods. We don't need to believe in fucking religion. We don't need to believe in anything else except ourselves. All is within you. See, they get us to believe in everything else except ourselves. And then the way we look at ourselves, it's nothing to do with reality. It's to do with a fucking lie. So if we're going to believe in anything, we need to believe in ourselves. That's number one. Having some goddamn fucking self-respect. Having some dignity. And holding a certain fucking attitude, because I don't give a shit what anybody thinks, Sean. They can say or think whatever they want about me. Now, if you don't actually fucking know me and you haven't talked to me, then you don't know me. One thing I will say is that I am an individual that absolutely believes in myself. I believe in the mission. I believe in my destiny. I fucking know why I'm here. I know who I am. Now, does it happen overnight? Does it happen instantly? No, because true magic takes time. See, if people want instant gratification, that's dark sorcery. And a lot of the dark sorcery out there is used to mesmerize the unwitting fucking masses. And these assholes that are out there doing this shit are riddled with a lot of really ancient codes that key them directly into the antagonistic core. If we're going to believe in anything, we need to believe in ourselves, and we need to see the game for what it is. We need to recognize what's going on. Also, the fact that what I term creator source wants us to believe in ourselves because it believes in us through the lens of perception in context to the signature core frequency of consciousness that is you as an individual. How are we ever going to become one with one another unless we're one with ourselves? If I don't believe in myself, how can I emit that energy and encouragement and empowerment to somebody else? You can't give to somebody else what you don't give to yourself. This is the law of Gebo. This is the law of equal energy exchange. This is one of the runes. This is one of the fire letter codes in context to the runes. So the first thing you touched upon was belief. Next was focus. That's the main thing. People are unbelievably fucking distracted because if I don't do that work every day, then I'm not going to continue to expand and really start to forge and manifest what is meant to come. This is why we're having this conversation. So focusing is so fucking important. It's got to be very, very fucking intense precision. It's about precision. It's about quality. It's about having quality with what you're focused on. And you can see all the stuff that most people are fucking focused on. It's all this bullshit. And they live in fear. They live in denial of themselves. And they see the ruling class as something that has power over them, which gives them the excuse to do fucking nothing. They just want to fucking pass the buck. It's pathetic. It's absolutely fucking asinine. And see, this is what the Dark Ones have counted on and has been a part of their plan the whole time to reinforce what the fuck they do. What they don't want us to believe in is who we are as individuals in connection to fucking eternity here in Midgard. This is what we need to be focused on. Remembering, learning to remember who we really are. Next, you get into visualizing. Now, the third eye is nothing but a lens. People want to do third eye meditations and all that kind of stuff. I hope that you are the master of your thought and emotion on a certain level, because once you start piercing those fucking veils and you start seeing some real shit, see, here's the thing, man. And it's the same thing with Kundalini. People think they're having a third eye experience. They get a little bit of visuals and stuff, and they're like, oh, my third eye is opening. No, the fuck it's not. When your third eye opens for real, you are in a completely different fucking world, just as real as this physical reality. Just as tangible, okay? While at the same time being here in Midgard. And see, most people, man, they're not ready for that because they haven't gone through the proper initiations. All of this in context needs a proper initiation, and that's why I do what I do, to give people the mechanics to be able to navigate this fucking stuff. And it's not to say that people out there aren't experiencing what we're talking about, okay? But when the pineal gland opens for real, man, I remember the first time it happened for me. That's when a lot of fucked up shit started happening, man, when this really happened for real. And this is when people start experiencing interface with entities, spirits, all the things that people talk about, alien factions, whatever the fuck. There's stuff going on that I've experienced. I don't hear anybody talking about it at all. And I haven't even given voice to it because, well, it's not really fucking necessary. That was my personal experience. I don't need to air everything that I've experienced to everybody. A lot of the things that people experience, it's for them. Take time with it. Take time with the process that you're going through, because it's very sacred what's actually happening in context. And if people learn how to navigate correctly, then they're going to know what's what, especially if the third eye opens. But visualizing, okay, going back to focus real quick. What are we focused on? What are we intending with the imagination, which is the imagination, the imagi? See, we can take our ability there. There's no thing that we cannot create in context of being co-creators. We are in connection to it. It just is. It's beyond time and space. It's beyond thought and emotion. It's even beyond the true intelligence that's there within the core of the heart center. Visualizing, taking that gift of imagination. See, this is what they steal from children. with all the fucking cartoons and the programs and the fucking education system, which is actually indoctrination. Their imagi is being fucking destroyed at a very early fucking age. That's why things like Dungeons and Dragons is so fucking awesome, because that's putting a person in a position to use their imagination. And it takes a very strong imagination to actually play that shit. I think that a lot of what is there within the mythos of Dungeons and Dragons is a lot of fucking hidden shit that they just fucking threw out there. And then people want to talk shit or make fun of you or say that it's fucking evil, man. That's what was told to me when I was growing up. Don't play that, that's evil, you're going to get possessed. And it's absolute fucking horseshit. If we can learn how to master the imagination, if we can master our visualization, if we can master our focus and believe in ourselves, then we'll get to that place where we'll be able to speak forth and evoke. Again, going back to Galder, Galder is the wizard. Galder is the one that is declaring. He's the one speaking forth, like I am right now. And then, of course, taking it to the will, having the will to take action upon what you're focused on in context to visualization, believing in yourself, because you're going to come up against challenges. You're going to come up against a lot of fucking shit that's going to try to fucking stop you. Okay, but if you encrypt that shit, if you encrypt it, like you said, if you encrypt it, they can't fuck with it. They have to respect it, because they say, this is a person that knows how things actually work and we can't fuck with their construct.
Beautiful.
They can't fuck with your construct once you reach a certain fucking point. And you have to have the will to power in context to really dig your heels down and make connection to the planetary Templar itself. You were mentioning the runes, okay? And I want to touch upon the runes real quick before I continue. The runes are a part of the flame letter codex of the planetary Templar. I touched upon this not too long ago with a segment that was uploaded on Black Earth Productions, which I encourage your audience and other people to go check out, and we get into that. But the runes are cosmic law. And it's said that anyone that can master the runes can master pretty much anything. And see, so there's the flame letter codex of the planetary Templar in context to the runes, but then there's the fire language itself. I speak this language. I speak this fire language, this quote-unquote divine language that comes up from the wellspring that's there within my core essence. I also use this in context to evocation, getting into Galder, because sometimes you don't know what to fucking say. Sometimes you just want to scream, and you don't necessarily know how to fully express what is there within you. You want to put it into English? Like, fuck. The English language is so limiting. There is so much more there within us to tap into in context. And when we start working with these things, then we start to experience life in a completely new dynamic. It becomes dynamic. And it's all about being the cause point. If you're not encrypting what you have visualized, what you're supposed to be focused on, instead of being distracted, if you're not speaking about it, if you're not talking about these things, encrypting that fucking shit, then you're not going to have interaction with eternity. And so when people have interaction, I don't give a fuck what it is, you have to have the attitude of sovereignty, because not everything that we have interaction with is there for our benefits. I have ability to be able to see through and gauge energy. And that's the other thing. See, a lot of people can put on a certain air, but energy can't fucking lie. And if people can read energy, if they can pick up on energy, you can start to gauge people a lot fucking better. Now, is it necessary for an individual that can gauge energy in the fashion that I'm talking about to say anything to the other person or whatever? No. It's just there for you to recognize what the fuck is really going on. Because if you're provoked by anything, if you're drawn out by anything, or if you're triggered out by whatever the fuck is going on with another person, you're in a sense giving your focus and your energy to it. This is why being an empath, that gift of empathy, can be dangerous, which I do have. And see, real quick, there's a difference between empathy and sympathy. I do not have sympathy for fucking humanity. None. Zero. They will not get it from me. But they will get empathy. And empathy says, wake the fuck up, believe in yourself, speak it fucking forth, take some goddamn fucking action, have some fucking balls, and encrypt that fucking shit. But see, if you don't start with the first step, like you were talking about, believing, if you don't get that one right, the rest is not going to work. The spell cast won't work correctly because you want your magic to be effective, right? And then, of course, getting into travel. Now, one of the things that you mentioned to me that you wanted to get into was the Bifrost, man. And the whole concept of realm jumping and traveling worlds. And yeah, the Bifrost is the burning rainbow bridge. It's the burning rainbow. The gatekeeper of the Bifrost is Heimdall. Heimdall, I could say, is akin to Anubis, but looking at this specific archetype in a different way, he's there at the gates of Asgard protecting the fortress fucking walls. He's there to sound the fucking horn of war if he needs to. And see, Heimdall, he can pierce the fucking worlds as well. Going back to what you were talking about in context to crows. When crows were coming to you, in context to Odin. Odin's crows, Hugin and Munin, they represent thought and memory. So if our thought and emotion is not in alignment with eternity, then the projection of the visualization happening on an unconscious level is going to reflect the wars that are taking place on all other realms. We're not in alignment. If you're in one realm or another, and you're not at the center within the fulcrum, then you're not in alignment. Like I said, all worlds converge here. So when we travel worlds, you have to understand that within the fulcrum, you're not leaving this world when you pierce into another one. Windows within the fulcrum. But the Bifrost is the bridge between Midgard and Asgard. This is how we are connected to the celestial deities in context. And Asgard is a fortress realm, and Midgard is also a fortress realm. And if it wasn't a fortress realm here, everything would be ripped and torn to fucking shreds in a goddamn fucking instant. This is where Jormungandr, the world serpent that surrounds Midgard, comes in. Jormungandr is the Ouroboros. With that, though, comes the Mjolnir, comes the Hammer of Thunor. And wielding that in context to what we are believing and focused on, what we are visualizing, what we are evoking, what we are taking action upon, what we are encrypting, having interaction with whether it's humans or other beings, we're all travelers. I know I'm a fucking traveler. I don't know about you, man, but I'm a fucking traveler. I'm a traveler of time and space. I'm a traveler of beyond time and space. Here again, to solidify some things for people to whom it's meant. It's not for me to decide. But we're not having this conversation for no fucking reason, right? There's a reason why we're doing it. And we're encrypting this shit, man. We are literally encrypting proper knowledge and context that's going to help individuals that are ready to come into an alignment. So far, the spell work that you're developing, man, it's very fucking good. It's very powerful. But traveling the worlds, you got to be ready for that, because most people can't even deal with their day-to-day lives, and then they want to astral project. You got to master your material existence first before I think people can really start to have success in context to everything else that's fucking going on. If you're in survival mode, you're in fear. You're not believing in yourself. You're not fucking focused or visualizing on any sort of, true purpose or destiny for you. You're running out and doing some shit just to fucking survive. And I've been there. I fucking get it. But I remember that fear. I remember that fear trying to drive me down into the goddamn fucking ground, dude, and keep me there. It fucking will if we let it. In order to see it, we have to see it. We have to see it within ourselves first. And see, the true mystics knew this. You can have an idea about something. You can have a concept of DNA resolution. You can have a concept of, things being reconciled and coming back together. But okay, how are we actually going to fucking do that? The currents of energy. I mean, yeah, we live in a world of multiplicity, man. Here in Midgard. See, certain magicians out there want to argue this fucking shit, and I don't fucking care, man. Magic is fucking magic. It's how things actually work. What makes a person fucking evil all goes back to the intention, okay? Why are they focused on what they're focused on? Why are they saying what they're saying? Why are they taking action on what they're taking action on? What's the true intention? And if the true intention is not in alignment, then you're going to fall into that dark way of doing things. You don't believe in yourself. You don't even believe in your potential to manifest anything. And so you go out and invoke a goddamn fucking entity, make a fucking pact, sell your fucking soul for riches and fame or whatever the fuck. You know, where's the reconciliation there? Can contracts be broken? Yeah. But you're going to be in for a goddamn fucking fight. Because once you give yourself over to the spirits or the fucking priest class or whatever the fuck, there's a timeline being woven. There's an encryption taking place when that happens. And so that's why I advocate invocation of spirits. Now, does it mean that I don't have interaction? No, I have interaction with things every day. I'm a fucking shaman. And so are you, Sean. So are you, man. Okay? So are you. You are a seer as well. You have this ability. This is why I think you've been through a lot of the stuff you've been through as well in context to Super Soldiers and the Secret Space Program. And a lot of the fucking stuff that we've talked about before, man, that it's just so fucking hard for just the brain alone to wrap itself around. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you've got into with me before, man, it was very fantastical. It did confirm a lot of things for me. But there's still so much more going on in context than even the tiny slivers that we're being able to see into. And that's why I feel that this roundtable is necessary, because all of us have pieces to the equation. Everything I'm sharing with you, this is just what truth has revealed to me, and then I get to share it. And it's like that with anybody. But are they in alignment? And I think if people are in alignment, certain things are going to be confirmed. So the currents of energy, again, going back to the transits that are going on right now, it's really intense for people whether they want to admit it or fucking not. And it's probably going to continue to be like this with individuals. Now, in context to emotion, you were getting into emotion there towards the end. Emotion, yes, it's energy and emotion. This is where we get our magic from. To put into action what we are focused on in creating. To believe in yourself is to love yourself. To bring it back to the beginning with the spell work, those are some things that I think would be a benefit to consider in context, man.
Yeah, you gave me a lot to work with. So how are you feeling now?
How do I feel now? I feel very empowered at the moment.
Cool.
Not necessarily because I feel empowered, but because I choose to be.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to put it.
Because what I feel, fuck, man, I mean, I'm not going to go there. It doesn't matter what the fuck we feel. Let's put our feelings on the shelf for a second and be a little bit more rational, okay? Because if we just let the left brain fall out of the fucking head, we're not going to be able to see things objectively to be able to know how to navigate correctly. So you're going through this shit. You're asking me how I'm feeling now. Yeah, I feel good, man. I feel very empowered at the moment. You know, speaking with you, being able to get into this with you, man. Because I know you're for real, man. How are you feeling after we've been able to get into this now?
I feel a surge of empowerment and allowing of many different pathways that open up into the future. I feel many different lines of creational force that your words has touched the audience as well as mine, and our interaction of the two energy frequencies and the exchange of our higher selves at a greater length of the audience. I feel the audience resolving much shadow while listening to your words and going deep into themselves, and the reminder that they can do anything they choose, they know, they believe, they will, they see, they voice into existence, and many other parts of that equation, and expanded beyond past that equation as I empower myself in the adversity of what tries to hold me back in the now, as well the audience in the now. So that's what I'm feeling. Lights and working with lights and the understanding of the rainbow and different color spectrums and the rainbow bridge that's used in different spectrums of awareness and many different interesting ways past what I am able to find in the mythos based on the technology of light and where it came from, the soul families that work with it more than others, and like what other things that other people use, or if they can use based on things that are setting up greater experiences for the future generations, and the future generations looking back on how they came into existence. I like to stay in a position with the mythos where I am open to things being unveiled in truth, because I'm more interested in truth than getting my full understanding of mythology. Many mythology is super packed full of wisdom, and the key terms to look further into the information in the ethers of our awareness, in the subconscious, in the planet, in the records, all that. When we break past the forced entanglement of the shadow of this world and our species, the more you do, the more you receive back in lights, in your own lights, and your changes in the future. And only we can make the decisions to move forward towards the goal of the planet's greater resolution and us unshackling the slavery that's been forced upon us for so long, and realizing that we are free if we understand what freedom is.
Right, and people have to have the attitude of being sovereign.
Yeah.
It's not a feeling, it's not a thought, it's a choice. It's a choice in action and focus, visualization, even evocation, man. Words are spells. What we evoke, what you speak forth. Abracadabra. We create what we speak. You create that encryption. And this is why, in ancient times, you didn't speak in the temple. Because if you were in the temple and you spoke something forth, it would instantly manifest. Because when you're in connection with that power, and you don't know how to wield it correctly, you can end up manifesting some fucking shit that's going to fucking destroy you. Give it over to this unconscious mental projection and be a part of the fucking goddamn distraction, as far as I'm concerned.
Ooh,
When it comes to this, when it comes to path work, when it comes to healing, you got to take it fucking seriously or it's not going to work right. You can't be lied about it, because you're not going into light shit. You're going into the goddamn fucking underworld to get back what is there within your true core essence, to get back what belongs to you, and then make connection and context to the Bifrost. Now, the interesting thing about the Bifrost is that it's the bridge between here and Asgard. Asgard is a fortress realm, and so is Midgard. So, in context to the gatekeepers of the Bifrost, we are the gatekeepers here in Midgard. We are the way showers, man. Everybody here has potential to be a gatekeeper for themselves, within themselves, in connection to eternity. You're becoming more aware of the bodies that were there the whole fucking time. You just didn't realize because they were lying dormant. And so there's this feeling of stepping beyond space and time. And I know that feeling, man. It's not easy to get used to. And if you don't know the grid works, if you don't have the map of the stargates, then you're not going to know where certain stuff is fucking coming from, man. We can encrypt anything we fucking want to. We can even write the new mythos, man. And see, this is what the true gods and goddesses are waiting for, because they're ready to evolve as well. And you know this about the councils, man. I know that you are a council member yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening on higher realms. We fucking know that. But everything converges here. And so it has to manifest here. And this is what the fuck we're doing, man. We're literally recreating this again.
Yeah.
I know whenever the fuck I come on and I start talking to people, I'm focused with the vision, evoking it, taking action. It's great that you're fucking seeing this, man. This is why communication is so goddamn fucking important, because a lot of us are processing so much. How do we communicate this? My disposition in Mars is communication. So anytime I'm going through some shit, I need to be able to fucking talk about it. You know, I have my inner circle and people that I'm accountable to, that I do communicate the things I go through with. But I'm not airing my dirty laundry to the fucking world. You don't need to get online and rant about how you've been fucking victimized and this and that. And then you get people come over to your fucking page and you just revel in it. You revel in that muck. It's vampiric to me, man. It's narcissistic to me. It's fucking like secondary psychopathy, man. where people want to glorify this fucking shit. Like, how the fuck is that empowering anybody? I want to be around people that are going to choose to be empowered no matter what the fuck they're going through. And see, again, I can't expect you or anybody else to be like that. But again, I can make the choice to be like that for myself. And so the relationship I have with myself, how I treat myself is how I'm going to treat other people. And that's just a psychological fact. That's a facto fact right there. How we treat ourselves is how we're going to treat other people. Again, individuals that fall into denial, they want something to fucking blame, man. And I think, honestly, when people get over this fucking shit and they actually have the courage to transmute that fear, the DNA resolution can really start to happen. It could even start happening very rapidly for somebody. But again, in context to our practice with the blue flame healing arts and occult science, healing is number one. And so people got to take time. They got to take time to learn how to pull away and detach from the grid works of consciousness that are keyed into the systems of domination and control. The lower astral grid works, all this kind of stuff. You got to detach from it first before you're able to traverse it in context to the Bifrost.
Wonderful. Yeah, because detachment from the world is taught in many different schools of thought. It's good. Your source connection likes it, especially when you're detaching from branches of sources that are in competition with you or want to imprint on you. Because like all the different players in the school of fear, relearning how to become and actually achieve their goals that weren't achieved before. There's many different things to add on to it, because it's definitely important to heal oneself and go into the school of internal awareness and wisdom that's inherent to us all once we sit in that field of memory and thought and our limited perspective of ourself, of connected to the universe, to bring out healing so that we have all types of remedy for every type of thing that we come across in Magick, so that when we're healing ourselves and we're releasing things connected to us, wounds, traumas, torture, entities, all this kind of stuff that will lock us down into a frequency and manifestation in a polar opposite of what we're trying to create, that is also created in the world to be mostly oriented to self-defeating programs, but also can expand beyond the self and be negatively affecting the environment, people around, without the being that's projecting off in shadow self from really wanting that to happen. It depends on how much has happened to them. That stuff will be imprinting self-defeating programs to turn them in a negative path. Just bringing into awareness that we can ask for the list of this within and then get it resolved more and more to shrinking that shadow self and bringing it to lights of what it's not supposed to be in competition to us, as it has it can be many different things. It could be a shadow of many different systems of our body, technology, organs, all can be seen having a way that can be looked at to improve the system. And that is the greatest growth factor, especially if looking towards a greater manifestation with Magick that doesn't allow a polarity of opposite of what you actually want to manifest to try to crush what you're dreaming.
And see, people are doing this every day. They're in denial of their dreams. They're in denial of their soul desire. And the soul desire, which is our soul spark here in this solar system, what I term the solar spiral, if we don't know how to navigate that correctly, then we're not going to be in alignment with our destiny in context to what's meant to unfold. And see, they're not teaching these things in schools. And I like what you mentioned, that there needs to be schools. A school to do shadow work would be fucking amazing, right? And see, in context to what you're saying, this is what I have been able to create with the Blue Flame Healing Arts and the Occult Science. Now, in the future, I'm going to get into more advanced material in context to the true universal tree of life. Now, one of your guests that have come on, Lord Osseron, has mathematically proven a lot of fucking things in context. I advocate his works. He's a friend of mine. His approach is his gift. There's a lot more in terms of consciousness, energy, vibration, and frequency with the true universal tree of life that has not been present in this reality field for well over 560 fucking million years. From the point of the first cataclysms that took place when the first and second seeding were annihilated, very few survived. Very few encryption codes of consciousness made it through. If it didn't make it through, it would have been the fucking complete and total annihilation of fucking everything. We wouldn't even have existence. And it's important to understand that we are the cause point for it. See, I've already made this connection. I've already made this connection beyond everything. It's just taking time for things to catch up in this reality field. But going back to what you were getting into, this is what everybody's doing. And they're doing it not knowing the difference because this knowledge and this wisdom hasn't been presented here in this reality field for very fucking long. Now, going back to all the fucking shit that I've been through leading up to the present moment, these motherfuckers tried to take me out. And I think with your gift, if you peer deep enough, man, you could see some of the fucking real shit that I've gone through that I haven't even fucking touched upon, man. And it's not in vain. It's divinity and purpose. Divinity and purpose. And it's just basically there for us to recognize what our true potential is here and not to have the state of mind of a fucking slave. Because as long as you have the mentality as a fucking slave, you are going to continue to build your own prison, and eventually life is going to fucking devour you. In the end, the demiurge will devour themselves. And the reason they are going to devour themselves is because eventually there will be a generation that fucking gets it. Whether it's our generation or 500 fucking years from now, the words that are being spoken right now are going to be fucking remembered. This is what I'm encrypting.
Yeah, I agree. It goes deep. And as you test the hologram and the different aspects of yourself and what is not you and what is trying to project onto you, then you start being able to find where you can reclaim your power.
Real quick before you go, share with us what you're doing, your website, YouTube channel, everything, man.
People can reach me. I'm Sean Bond on Facebook, silvercordss.com, Silvercord Spiritual Science YouTube. We're doing a whole bunch of new things in the future and remedy for people to heal themselves and empower themselves more and more and more. Please plug your information.
Absolutely, man. If anyone wants to get a hold of me, send me an email at blackearthproductions@hotmail.com. Check out the Black Earth Productions website at blackearthproductions.com. Check out all the other videos on the Black Earth Productions YouTube channel. I have a lot more coming in the future in context to what is being developed. It's very powerful what's going on.
Hey, I support your work, and I love how much you're gathering all in one place. It's wonderful. And I love how much effort and will you put into your manifestations to help teach the world. So thank you very much for doing this.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, I just want to say one more time, and I am in 100% support with Silver Cord Spiritual Science, Sean Bond, and people want more insight into what is actually going on a multidimensional level. You're definitely going to want to talk to these two because, let me tell you, Sean has definitely blown my mind, and also KJ. And see, it was mind-blowing, man, when you confirm things in context to Thor, both you and KJ, man, and really prompted me to go into it even deeper. You're both seers. And being a seer is not easy. I am a seer as well. But if we can all come together and start to see even a little bit beyond where things are at the moment and start to pull in more, the things that we develop are going to continue to evolve, man. And so I want to thank you for having me come onto your show. I definitely look forward to speaking to you again, man.
I do too, and thank you for having me on your show, and great talking with you. Love hearing the voice and what's behind the voice from you. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Definitely have a wonderful night. And for the rest of you on my end, you gotta understand, I'm not fucking around with any of this shit. I am very passionate about what is going on because, listen, this world and the way that the world is going, it's not going to fucking work. Make the decision. The doors of the ancestors are open to everyone that wants to be a partaker of the true biospiritual Genesis. Check out our services page on the website at blackearthproductions.com. Our services page is the Blue Flame Healing Arts and Occult Science. And with that, to cap things off, this is Sethikus Boza. Be empowered, be encouraged.